Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Strange Issue 4. And this was actually a pretty good issue. I liked that the premise was dealing with Clea having her mother pop over and the craziness that ensues when the Blasphemy Cartel's like, let's go hit the Sanctum Sanctorum, not understanding that another warlord is probably in attendance as well. So we pretty much see her trying to like get everything ready, and she's like kind of nervous. A visit from a warlord is part of everyday business for the Sorcerer Supreme. She's like, yeah, I grew up in Dormammu's court. I'm fine with that. It's her mother that she dreads, as she has this one dude kind of like listing her off and everything. As she's like, greetings, Sorcerer Supreme, greetings, daughter. And of course, Umar is just treating Wong just like a doorman, pretty much, and thinking that like Stranger's house should be more opulent and grandiose, and that in order to rectify this, Umar's going to erect a palace for Clea in her domain. And Clea's pretty much trying to smooth things over, just telling Wong to take bats for a walk. Uh, and then she's like, haven't I been a loving mother? And she's like, or a present mother, or mother even known. She's like, not the weak creatures that you surround yourself with. I now speak to the Sorcerer Supreme of both Earth and the Dark Dimension. And she's like, you've done well for yourself, regardless of any perceived maternal failings on my part. And of course, listing off, like, starting to list off sacrifices and shit. And saying that they have much to discuss and everything as the Blasphemy Cartel is getting ready to hit the Sanctum. Let's see here. And Clea is like, why would I need your counsels, mother? And of course, she has wine and food, but she's like, oh, you need a sommelier. Because she's proud of her because she thinks Clea's been doing a long con and that she did this to become the Sorcerer Supreme and everything. She's like, you think I made a power play here? She's like, well, I thought that's what it was, but evidently you didn't. As she's like, listen, the Sorcerer Supreme title is a burden, and she'd get rid of it if she didn't make a promise to Stephen Strange, the man she loves. And asking if that concept is so foreign to you, as we see a creature rocketing towards the Sanctum Sanctorum. And she's like, I was gonna be prepared to entertain the thought of loving my daughter if she had done something like this. And Clea was pretty much asking if she loved anything in her life other than power and conquest, and she was going to love her for trying to do this kind of tact, and she was going to try and hit. Clea was going to say something, but then of course, bam! The rocket-propelled genie has breached the sanctum walls, activating Lazarus Agent, and they look pissed. And it's like, yeah, I would not mess around with Clea anytime, even on the best of days. But just shooting like a fucking rocket genie in there, and then like, keep clear, fire in the hole, and Clea's like, all right, they brought something new to bear. As they then start fighting something that looks like Moon Knight, saying Shadow Knight. It's like, interesting. But the thing is, they're like, what the fuck is this thing? Clea is thinking that that's a Revenant, and that it's super fast and is able to blast through and hit them, even through like Umar's Seraphim shields. And it's like, that's a big kind of thing. And Clea's like, this is more powerful than the last one I encountered. It's like a gestalt of thousands of ghosts. And she starts using the flames of the Faltine. Umar starts using the crystals of Sindriar. And she's pretty much giving them an understanding of what kind of is different in this kind of whole thing. Whereas Thunderstrike was using a body of a dead hero, this person has nothing like that. It's like madness on a creature who's never a hero, was born in the bred in the bone killer, and she pretty much is trying to like figure out what's kind of going on. Clea's going to take care of the creature and asks if Umar would be ever so grateful as to deal with the ones outside. And she's like, ooh, yeah, I'm gonna make them pay for this. I'm gonna make them pay for this. So, let's see here. And it's funny. The creature starts attacking her, and she's like, ooh, the Blasphemy Cartel keeps doing this shit, despite my very clear warnings. And then she utilizes the demon that she had kind of captured and uses it to pretty much keep the Shadow Knight busy, as Umar is like, the Blasphemy Cartel's like, is that one of our demons? It's like, ooh, I'm going to show you what the Faltine do, due to people that are going to fuck with us. And the Blasphemy Cartel's like, she's coming! Oh god! And we see that Clea understands that this demon will not last long against the Shadow Knight, and she starts doing something amazing, which is creating a spell on the fly. As I do like that we get her thought process as we're being shown her actually doing this. And that usually the reason you don't really do untested spell formula on the spot is that you don't know what's going to happen. She explains it like it's attempting to compose a song and doing complex mathematics at the same time, all while conducting a chemical reaction with dangerously explosive reagents. It's complicated work, and usually that's why you see older wizards and crones and witches doing that kind of stuff, and that it takes time and experimentation to do that. And luckily she's gifted, among other things, as she then gets it done, as the Shadow Knight has pretty much taken down the demon, but she's able to utilize it to remove all of the ghosts and kind of set them off. Like, I don't know if it is a capture spell or a dissipation spell or whatnot, but it works all the same to defeat the Lazarus agent. And she's like pretty much bringing up who she is and the rest of her titles, and she's like, I will not be trifled with. And then of course we hear a voice ask, how did you do that? And she's like, the battle's done and you're late. And she says it's time for answers from the Harvest Man as he comes back in. And it's like, yeah, I do think that like the Sorcerer Supreme of Death would be very interested into how a cartel is creating gestalts and harnessing the powers of ghosts to create and reanimate other kind of creatures and use them as superpowered soldiers on their own to do bad shit. Death wouldn't like that, and the Harvest Man wouldn't like that. So it'll be cool to see how this kind of works out, because it would be a kind of tense kind of team up. But I like this because we got an understanding of how Clea is different than her mother, and how her mother was like, oh, this long con you did was really kind of cool, but we know that Clea loves Strange, and even though she's from the Dark Dimension and is part of the Faltine and related to Dormammu, she still is interested enough to not completely want to destroy Earth or conquer it at a whim. However, it is interesting to see how her warlord tendencies and being brought up in that environment have her focused on what a kind of warlord does, because at first she's really kind of aggressive on certain things, but if it was Umar doing certain things with like the Bazaar and the Blasphemy Cartel, she would have tried to pretty much annihilate them without understanding or any kind of intel gathering. So now that every time she has warned them, they have come back to be like, fuck you, Clea. Hopefully she goes into, alright, let's see how she kind of handles this. Now, granted, I think it's going to be a kind of combination of where she gathers enough intel to then go and tactically take these motherfuckers out. So we'll see how that kind of works, because I want her to see, because if the Warlords thing is like, I'm going to go to the Blasphemy Cartel and just completely wipe them out, that is both an option, but without the information of what they are, who they are, and what they want, and what their capabilities are, you definitely have the possibility of getting your shit pushed in. I think Clea has shown that, like, she does not go completely off, completely hot-headed, unless somebody's pretty much at her and, like, pretty much presenting a viable threat to her and those that she is tasked to protect. Well, the entire Earth, being the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth. So, I did like this. I can't wait to see where the rest of this kind of goes, and how her and the Harvest Man will interact, and how they will deal with the Blasphemy Cartel, and what the Blasphemy Cartel is attempting to actually do with these dead heroes and gestalts that they're doing. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.